We are live. Breanna Gunn, oh my gosh. I am super thrilled to be sharing a Monday morning with you. Hold up that Norwal coffee cup, please.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that so cool?
Everyone needs one.
Absolutely. I just learned from Bree that Norwals use their tusk tooth. It's a
Mhm.
tooth, right?
It's a
To
test, yeah.
break through ice.
Yep.
I think there's like some big lesson I should be able to tie into that and use that as breaking through. And I don't know.
Or it's just really freaking cool.
They're water unicorns. Let's just call
Mhm.
it a water unicorn.
Yep.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. And if you're catching the replay of this, ask your questions below in the comments. As always, if you're watching live, ask your questions in the comments. As always, we want to make sure we get to the real stuff that really makes a difference for you. So I got Bree here hanging out with us today. Prospecting, closing, client acquisition is her jam. She's also amazing at systems and staffing and all the other things that run a really efficient agency. But with this new year, 2021, no matter if you've had the best 2020 ever or the worst, prospecting and closing
Mhm.
is absolutely where it's at. So, Bree, thanks for joining us. Where are you from?
I'm actually here in Michigan.
Michigan. Are you
Yeah.
cold?
It's snowing outside and cold as all get out. And
Cold as hell is not the correct way. Oh, wait a minute.
no, well, and I spent 10 years in Texas, so I tend to lean a little bit southern for the people up here. So yeah.
That's great. I'm glad you're here. All right. So, how did you end up with the agency you have now? Let's just get a little bit of background. What's up, Jessica? Great to see you.
Hi,
Jesse,
Jessica. Hi,
sorry. Hey,
Carol.
good to see you. Yeah. And yeah, Carol, and I'm thinking AO in there.
Yeah.
I can't see your name there, AO, but I think that's you if you're talking about Carol. Anyway, Bree, how did you get started in your agency? Like, explain where you are and kind of briefly where you came from, and then
Yeah.
dive into the real stuff.
So I built my business to where it is now because there was a need for someone who understood and was able to do what I do. My business handles content, copy, all of the pieces of your sales funnel,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a big hole in the market. Everyone does sales funnels in kind of the same way, and I wanted to break the system because I believe in relationship marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I built things up to where they are now because there was a hole, and I believe in filling the gaps.
Mm.
So yeah,
I love
that's
that.
short of it.
I think that's really cool. If for those of you watching and still trying to figure out, which took me forever to figure out my who, like who I was going to help and what I was going to help them with. Once you have that figured out, it seems so easy looking back. But when you're struggling to figure it out, it's hard. But Bree, just filling the hole that you found was there. Like there was a need, you filled it. I think that's such a
Yeah. And the
cool.
whole moving target. That's the other thing people miss. Like when we're struggling to find clients or make sales, we're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole instead of going out and talking to people and finding out what they actually want. We're trying
Mhm.
to force it.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. We force it because we think it's a brilliant idea,
Mhm.
not because of yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it may be a brilliant idea, but we need to be able to talk about it in a way that is relevant to our audience. Because
Mhm.
if you want to serve 6, 7, 8 figure entrepreneurs, but your audience is 4 and 5 figure entrepreneurs, you need to fill the gap
Yeah.
and be relevant to the people that are actually paying attention to you so
Mm-hmm.
that you can get them to where they want to go.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. All right, let's talk prospecting and closing. And when we're talking prospecting and closing, before we dive in there, it is Martin Luther King Day here in the United States. And all 50, by the way, Bree, I didn't know this until I was just looking on Google this morning.
Mhm.
All 50 states started celebrating Martin Luther King Day in 2020. No, 2020, year 2000, 2000. I was thinking all even numbers there. In year 2000, not that long ago, and all 50 states started celebrating them. Um, I think it was Reagan who signed the day into becoming a national holiday. All that to say, this is his birthday
Mhm.
when we recognize this day. I think it was actually the 15th, a few days ago.
Mhm.
But what an amazing leader. First of all, I live in Memphis, Tennessee. This is going to come back to prospecting, folks. Don't worry. I'm coming right back. I live in Memphis, Tennessee. The Lorraine Motel is not far from my home where Dr. King was assassinated. But celebrating his birthday and his legacy as an amazing leader in an amazing time. There are, again, this is coming back to prospecting, folks. Don't worry, because we can learn a lot from a leader like Martin Luther King Jr. And wow, aren't we thrilled? and just blessed to have someone like that in our past and still kind of in our current. This guy's still leading us. So I didn't realize how big a deal this guy was until Jill and I started traveling the world with our kids. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, kids, there's Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And we're in Greece or some random place like that. And he's impacted the world. All right. 2020 seems like one of those pivotal years where society groans trying to make a strong turn in a new and good direction with our social, racial stuff we've had to deal with here in the States, and I know around the world.
Yep.
When Martin Luther King Jr. was doing his thing, one of those moments where society was groaning and turning, but such a needed moment to happen. Mm-hmm. Let's not lose his momentum, his pathway of hope and peace and justice and truth and real action. Now, that's not just great from a, hey, this is real stuff. We got to keep growing and changing and being a people that we want to be. It's also great when we're thinking about watching any leader. I love reading biographies because I learn from leaders and I can apply that in my own life. If not in social justice issues for Martin Luther King's conversation, but here in business and running an agency, being a leader of hope and of purpose and of action and somebody who pulls people up, because each of us goes through our moment in life where we groan internally to make that hard change and to step up and grow. So Bree, with that mindset, I know you're a hopeful person, and I know you're a person who puts action in place, real tactical steps. Talk prospecting. Like, what can we start doing to not get angry and frustrated at, it's so hard being an entrepreneur, and I don't know about Clubhouse and Facebook and Instagram. What do we do to start prospecting?
So, it's funny because someone actually asked, how do we close the gap? Because I mentioned you need to do that. I think that the biggest lesson that you can take from Dr. King is people. You treat people like people, regardless of what they look like, what they sound like. And we have come out of a time where, Chris, you know this, where you could scream from the mountaintops that you had something for sale and everyone would buy it. That is no longer the case because we have market saturation, right? We have so many people out there offering so many things that we have to not be the loudest, we have to be the most impactful. And so that closing the gap piece, it starts with treating people like people. It starts with treating people like people where they are. It starts with saying, okay, you want to be a six-figure entrepreneur. Here are the steps that you need to get from where you are to where you're going. And leading them through example. That doesn't mean that you're leading them necessarily for free. Maybe you need to create a new program. Maybe you need to create a partnership or a referral agreement with someone who teaches that gap piece so that they can now enter your program. The other thing is closing the gap also comes from elevation. If you are not surrounding yourself with the people who you want to be paying you, you need to elevate your language, you need to elevate your words, your offers, and you need to do the not so sexy piece, which is the market research. You need to get people on the phone, on calls, on Zoom, and talk to them. Guys, I have closed $20,000 contracts doing market research. It is completely possible.
Wow.
Because you're just treating people like people. Find out what their pain is. Oftentimes we talk about prospecting, and it's not that we can't find people to buy our program. It's that we've not elevated our language or our offers to the point where it makes sense for the people that we're currently talking to. It's not aspirational enough, or it's overly aspirational. You have to hit that sweet spot. And to do that, you have to go out and have conversations.
Yeah, that's really well said. And on that note, on your website, I noticed earlier, Breanna, that BreannaGunn.com, by the way, folks who don't know her website, I'll drop that in the notes here in a minute. If somebody else wants to just drop it in there real quick while we're talking, it's Breanna Gunn, BreannaGunn.com. Down there at the bottom of your website, Breanna, I noticed you have a how to do market research video, just 5 minutes, but just is a great starter kit for that process.
Right, because it's such a pivotal piece in your business. It didn't, the frustrating thing for a lot of us is anyone who's been around longer than 3 to 5 years, thank you. You know, we didn't used to have to do that. We used to be able to just stand up and say, hey, this is for sale, come buy it. And that's no longer the case because there are so many of us all saying, hey, here's my stuff, come buy it. We have to start standing out. And the only way we're going to stand out is if we treat people like people and meet them where they are. Because, you know, you don't go buy a car because you need a car. You buy a car because it's pretty. It has the right interior. It has the right cargo space. It can fit the right amount of people, right? You don't just buy a car because it's a car. You buy a car because of the features and the benefits to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to figure out where your audience, your current audience is and what features and benefits they want so that you can fill that gap for them.
You know, Yvonne, yes, great. Thanks for re-quoting Bree here because you're right. We must treat people like people where they are. Where they are right now. And back to your car analogy there, Bree, that's a really great one because when I buy, for instance, let's think the last car we have a relatively new Suburban sitting out there.
Nice.
I don't know anything about. It's our 4th Suburban. We have 5 kids. We've destroyed the previous 3. We kill them and then dump them in a lake and then run away.
You have a pyre for them and you say thank you. And
exactly. So this is the 4th one. I know nothing about the mechanics of the car. I know we need 4-wheel drive. I know we need cargo space, seat space, and we do road trips. But other than that, the engineers at, I guess that's Chevy, the engineers at Chevy aren't sitting in the showroom trying to impress me with all their knowledge like we sometimes do with our markets. They're just saying, hey, so you got 5 kids, great, so you need a lot of seats, awesome, and they leave it right there. The sales folks know to keep it simple and keep it dialed back to my 2nd grade view of cars, and it works. They're meeting me where I am, and they're keeping it simple for me.
You know, I used to sell cars, fun fact.
No way.
Yeah, I did. I sold used cars.
Are you any good at it?
I made $30,000 in 30 days. Does that count?
That's good at it. Okay, I'm with you.
But I dealt with people with really bad credit, and they'd come in wanting a Mercedes or wanting a Camaro or wanting, the brand new Honda on the lot, and I'm like, that's nice. Here's your Dodge Caravan.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, and you need the vehicle that not only is practical for your needs. That's a really great point. You also need the vehicle that fits your budget. You need the vehicle that makes the most sense for where you are right now. And the vehicle doesn't always feel like the right vehicle to them, which is why those features that he talked about, the engineers stay out of the sales process because those pieces don't necessarily matter. It's the results. You're going to be able to separate your kids so they can't hit each other anymore. You're going to be able to, I don't know if your kids are like that, but
don't cross the line. It's my
Yeah, I had 3. There were 3 of us, and we used to have to sit on either side of the Suburban and then one on the way back. We called it the way back, so that we couldn't touch each other. It's having the ability to separate. It's all of those pieces are what are the catalyst to purchase. It is not the 8-cylinder engine. It is not. I mean, the 4-wheel drive is nice, and it's you have snow, but you could probably handle all-wheel drive.
And I don't know how it works. I turn the knob. That's all I want to know.
Yeah,
turn the knob.
Right. You don't need to go so deep. I mean, I drive a Chevy too. I absolutely love it. And we looked at Suburbans and I was like, I grew up with them. I'm not going to drive something that big.
We definitely have Chevy users here for sure.
Yeah. I live in Michigan where we build Ford. I'm the weird one. I don't drive a Ford.
Noelle and her kids call it the backpack.
I like the backpack. Yeah, we call it the Wayback, and then I think isn't it Peabody and Sherman who had the Wayback machine?
The Wayback, yes. I was thinking that. I thought that too. Yeah, their time machine. Yeah.
But you think about making purchases when you go buy groceries, when you go do any of your daily or regular shopping. You're not thinking about the features of the products. You're thinking about the benefits, how it's going to taste, if you're going to waste it, and with programs that are more esoteric, that aren't as tangible for people, they're buying something on faith, you need to paint the benefits for them. If you buy this program, this is the transformation you're going to undergo. if you work with me, if you come hang out with me, let's take the purchase off the table. If you come hang out with me in my world, these are the things I'm going to teach you. This is the vibe I'm going to put out there. This is what I'm going live about. This is what I'm talking about. And you will begin to attract the audience that you can actually sell to because you've done your market research, because you're getting people on the phone regularly. Mm-hmm. And because you've taken out that piece of overwhelm, you've taken those features away, so it's not even a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, it's overwhelming for people to have to choose between you and someone else. Make it simple.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you just said something, I don't know if anybody caught this, you just kind of blew past it. When you're out there doing your thing, you're out there talking live, you're releasing videos or whatever. That's such a big piece of it. So many of us get so caught up and fearful about what if it's not exactly right before I start. But, you know, as you have, Bree, as everybody I'm sure is watching, we've all tried our version of market research. And again, Bree's got a great little video on her website about how to get some clarity around that. But starting with the research you have today, mm-hmm. Spend another hour or two this afternoon doing some more research if you want to, and then start going, because the real time on the street, mm-hmm. calling Facebook Live even on the street, the real time on the street is where you really learn about the people who are on the street and get out of your own head and get to hear from them. Yeah. I've learned so much about this digital coaching marketing space by doing lives every day in this group, folks. Those of you who are watching, you don't realize how much market research you give me and my team because you let us hang out with you and you let us learn where you're getting stuck. That was the stuff I forgot about 10 years ago. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it was like. So be out there in your real community and listen, you know?
And stop worrying about being perfect.
Yeah.
You know, guys, I've had lives where my kids bust in and people get to see me play mom, which is not always pretty. You know, be real. The thing is, we are all in this together, and being so incredibly aware that we are human and asking for grace goes mm-hmm. so much further than always being perfect. Oh, you have a prospecting meeting today. That's super exciting.
That is exciting. Gives a little more detail there, Noelle.
Do something for me. I want you to test something, and then I want you to come back and tell me how it works. When you ask them what they're struggling with, what their pain is, we all have the question that works for us, right? And however you phrase it, you're going to ask them what they're currently struggling with or why they hopped on the call with you, right? Mm-hmm. When they give their answer, don't start talking. Instead, say, that's really interesting. Tell me more, and be quiet, because that's going to give you the piece that you can actually sell to. If you make that one little shift, just that one shift in your sales calls, one, you're doing market research sneakily, and two, you're going to have a much easier time converting them to clients because now you're speaking in their language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. It's so true. It's like being a good therapist. You know, the therapist never really give you all the answers you want. They just ask you the questions and let you uncover them.
Yes, it's 80-20. It's 80% silence and 20% talking. And when you forget that, that's when things go south.
The 80-20 rule on prospecting. I like that. That's good. Okay, excellent. Yeah. So you do this thing called a 5-day launch. Oh, hang on. We're making a plan. Okay, here's another great thing from Noelle. We're making a plan on who/where to reach out, going strong in the next month. Awesome.
Awesome. Just don't overextend yourself. A lot of us make that mistake. Double duty. If you can get your phone and your laptop and you can go live on 2 platforms at once, leverage. Do not try to be everywhere at once, because I promise you will burn out, because I've done it before. And yes, and sitting 50% raise by sitting in awkward silence. That awkward silence, I'm telling you, find something to fidget with. I have, like, kid you not, guys, I have a little ring that I can spin. And I will sit here like bullet where they can't see, and I will spin that little ring, and I will just wait for them to talk. You do not want to be the one to pick up that conversation after you've stated the price.
I'm picturing Hermione in Harry Potter, and she's got the little time turner. She spins it like 3 times back. You got just the right number of spins. You can spin it and be like,
right,
there it is.
Yeah, because the thing is, you know, a purchase decision is more than just giving them the price and asking if they want to sign up. They're actually going to do calculations in their head. They're going to remember their bank balance. They're going to remember what payments are coming in. They're going to remember all these things. And if you don't give them time to process and you keep talking, you actually disrupt their decision-making process.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Noelle, right? She's awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's good, Bree. Simplification, one place at a time. I know, right? I have not done Clubhouse yet. And it's because of that very reason. I know it's super cool. We got these stacked invitation people keep sending, but I haven't even logged in. It sounds like one more thing to do. And I'm liking my simple January right now.
And I'm in a Clubhouse, but I'm only on Clubhouse maybe twice a week. And it's very intentional time. I'm not sitting there listening to it and losing time because I know myself.
Yeah, you get sucked in. Yeah, I know I'll get there eventually. It's just, again, keeping it simple and staying focused.
You got to do what works. If you don't do what works, then you're not going to keep up with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You tried to add me on. Well, thank you.
I'm trying to add you on Clubhouse.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Keep the invitations coming. I'm just seeing how many I can get. I'm looking for a record.
You're collecting. You're trying to be the collector of all the invitations.
Yeah, without ever signing up. All right. So you got this 5-day launch process. Explain two things.
Yeah.
One, anybody watching, great process to jump into for 5 days. It's a great way to get into what Bree teaches. But also, why do you use that structure? If we're going to jump in there and learn from you and see how you use that kind of a tool, why do you do that?
Well, for one, you need to build trust, right? Relationships are all about trust. You don't get married if you just meet the person. That'd be very awkward. Like, hi, we just met, but let's get married. That's super weird. Don't do that, please.
Yeah.
The 5-day challenge is literally, it's a way to get into my process. It's more about how to find the right people to sell to. And so it combines my sales skills and the market research piece, because so often, not even 3 years ago, we could throw up something for sale and everyone would buy it. But the economy is different now. The vibe is different now. Our expectations are different. And people really, really want that relationship. So in building relationship, I chose the 5-day challenge model because it would give you, if you decide to sign up, a taste of, one, who I am, how I talk, how I function, how I the pace and speed at which I move. And, a single download doesn't really do that. I do have those, but I find that most people come in through my 5-day challenge because it gives you a definite result versus more of an esoteric out there, like someday maybe result. And in a very results driven society and a results driven industry, it's a taste and see. And if I'm the wrong person, great, bye. It was nice to meet you. And if I'm the right person, then you hang out and you find out a little bit more, you reach out and you book a call with me. One of the biggest mistakes people make is, like I said, they go from just meeting someone to the marriage proposal or the sale right away. Now, is there a time when that works? Absolutely. I have people who I meet and we sign and we go. But it is definitely not the norm, especially right now. In an industry that I've been in this industry for 10 years. I have never in my life until 2020 sent out a proposal for anything.
Wow.
Never. And in 2020, I sent so many proposals it made my head hurt. People need that proof. And so the more you can do to put proof in front of them, the more lives you can do, the more visibility you can garner, the more guest spots like this that you can be on and expand your network, the better off you're going to be, because realistically, people are going to outgrow you. And I think this is the thing that people are scared of, is they get worried about the unsubscribes. They get worried about the people falling off or their numbers dipping. Celebrate the people that leave, because the people that leave are the wrong kind of people.
Yeah, Noelle, great point there. We should, we totally should connect, Bree. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, Noelle and Charlene have a great business called the Challenge Queens. They're total rock stars. Y'all.
Okay, I need to talk to you guys just about your agency name, because that is bomb. That is so good. Y'all made my morning.
I'll put when I hang up here, Noelle, I'll drop Bree's Facebook handle in there so you can grab it and y'all can hang out. Okay, so yeah, you're absolutely right. I love the taste and see type mentality on this, and then when you leave that, so you're prospecting and doing like speaking engagements like this, other audiences. There's so many ways we can do this. Give your people a place to go. How important is it when you're speaking at something like this, Bree, which obviously this is a relatively small audience compared to a lot of things you speak at. But when you're speaking at something like this, how important is it to have a place where you can point people to get to know you versus just your Facebook profile, let's say?
You can use your Facebook profile for a lot if you do it right. You can get your heading and put language on there that helps people understand who you are. There are a lot of restrictions. Yours is not the case necessarily, but there are a lot of restrictions when you go on a live like this, or you are, you can't sell from stage, you can't do these things. So having a landing spot, whether it's a group, an email list, please have an email list. If you don't do anything else today, please get an email list. Have a place for people to go, because I look at it this way. Like when I buy a course, if I can learn 3 new things, that is a successful purchase. If I go speak and I find one person that I connect to and that we really vibe, and I've expanded my network by that one person knows other people.
Yeah.
That one person needs to know how to get my information into the hands of those other people, right? So making sure that you have handles, even if you don't use the platforms, on the platforms that you are being featured on, whether that's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook. I think those are the 3 main live platforms.
Sure.
Clubhouse notwithstanding, because they don't really have a way to connect out inside of Clubhouse. You have to go to Instagram.
Yeah.
Really. But making sure you have a presence, making sure on Instagram you have those 9 tiles filled so that your feed is actually like a full feed if they don't scroll, right?
Yeah.
Making sure on Facebook that you have taken full advantage of all of the features on your page, so that sending them from there to your email list, sending them from there to a challenge, making sure that you redirect people inside your network of, it's more of a web, really, the web of where you live in the inner space, or in the interwebs, right? If we can get people to funnel themselves into the platforms that we're speaking on, even if we're don't have a large presence there, from there we can direct them to the places where we do have a larger presence. If you got a chance to go live on LinkedIn and you were not able to, you don't have really a LinkedIn profile, but you have a huge profile on Facebook, make sure somewhere on your LinkedIn that you have connect with me on Facebook in the link. If you go live on Facebook and you hate Facebook and you don't want to be here and you want people to go to Instagram, make sure you redirect them somewhere on your profile. Get really smart about telling people where to go, because the thing is, we all want to hang with you. But if you don't give us a place to go hang with you, we're going to forget. It's like shiny up. It's like being Dory, right? If we can remember that P-31 Sherman, whatever it is.
Yvonne, good to see you, by the way. Have a great day. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. We have to direct traffic. Realistically, we're like the little people we're the people at the airport directing the landing planes and saying, connect with me here. And then once they connect with you here, saying, cool, I love that you're connecting me here. Let's go hang out where I hang out, which is over here, or email.
Sherman Lane.
Lane, thank you. Pete.
Noelle, you're on fire this morning. You like totally.
I know it's Sydney. I know that much. I was literally just at Disney. I should know this.
So, okay. Love the web analogy, not the World Wide Web, but instead of the funnel, like a linear process, it is a web, because we all wish that everybody would come in our funnels, our sphere of influence, and go in this line.
Nice.
It would be nice, but people bounce around. It's like relationships in real life. Oh my God.
We're building relationships. Oh my gosh.
It's just, think of it that way, and it solves so many confusing problems when you just realize, oh, this is just relationships. Okay. Not everybody I meet will marry me in the next 45 days. Thank goodness. Right?
But they might marry you in a year.
Yeah.
They might take the next step in 6 months. That's the thing, is when you nurture the right way, you will never be short of prospects. Because you will consistently be attracting the right kind of people into your world so that you can sell them when it makes sense for them. This is why you need to always be making offers.
Yes.
Even if they're little offers, even if they're like pocket products that are like $7. Consistently make offers, and it doesn't always have to be a paid offer either. You can make an offer by saying, hey guys, I'm starting a podcast. Come listen, follow, and subscribe.
Yep. Perfect.
Right. You can say, hey guys, I'm going to be live it's going to be awesome. Come hang out. Come join this other group that you didn't know about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be paid, because the thing is, we consume a lot of free information before we ever make the decision to purchase, the decision to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to give people space to learn.
Love this.
Good.
Sean up there just said good words, Breanna Gunn.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
So true, Sean. And welcome, CN. Welcome, West Waters. Susan, I see you there. Susan, sorry. Bree, this thing I keep seeing. Oh, let me just scroll down here and see. Noelle said one more thing here is worth saying. Chris, this also helps answer my question from the other day. Yeah, about who should I be bringing into my group. So Noelle, just backstory here, is in a mastermind that I get the privilege to lead. People like Noelle and Charlene, oh my gosh. And they're really working on who they're bringing into their own sphere of influence.
Mm-hmm.
And answering that who question and what kind of transformation you're going to bring people
Mm-hmm.
is really important. And you're just hitting home runs, everything you say, Bree. So what I keep hearing, Bree, is that prospecting, shock and awe, is relationships. And when we don't look at people like little robots that move through our system,
Mm-hmm.
or just little hashtags or names or handles, when we look at them as real relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and we treat them like we would treat people that we'd meet at a coffee shop or having a house party or in our neighborhood, walking group or running group in the morning, whatever, and we let those relationships happen organically, that's what makes prospecting magical, right?
Right. And then it makes everything so much easier. If you're always making offers, people haven't forgotten that you sell something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because a lot of times we're scared. We're like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to be offended. You know what? The people who are not a good fit, they're gonna check themselves out. They're gonna leave your list. Celebrate them. Be like, hi, I'm having a party for you. You're awesome. Thanks for being here for when you were here, and see you later. If I was just starting.
Good question there, Jesse.
Oh, if you're just starting, get out there and hit the pavement and do market research. Make it a priority to get out there and ask people, what is your biggest struggle in whatever your market is right now? For me, it'd be, what's your biggest struggle with sales right now? And when they give you that answer, go, that's really interesting. Tell me more, and shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And do that over and over and over and over again. And you will hit people that are like, so can you you'll know, you'll be able to fix that problem. They'll be like, well, how do I hire you? And you're going to get stuck going, give me a second. Because when you do enough market research, you are going to be able to predict and make those sales so much easier. And if you're just starting out, it saves you the trouble of targeting the wrong people.
Yep, absolutely. And Jesse, I would add to that, wouldn't change a single thing Bree's talking about. And then just take action. Once you think you've got a handle on it, like in the next week, start doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. You can ask them when you're doing market research, hey, I have a program that actually solves that. It does X, Y, Z. Can I ask you how much you would be willing to invest in something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd be shocked how many people are going to tell you exorbitant numbers. And when you're like, well, I was thinking of making it like $10,000. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I join?
Yeah, because they know what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And then Jesse, if you're looking for like where to simply start market research ideas, obviously you can go to Bree's website, Breanna Gunn. Scroll up in the comments a few points and you'll see it there. I'll also put it in the top of the video here in a second. And then she's got something at the very bottom of her website talking about that. You can also join her 5-day challenge. And that's totally worth a couple days of time. It's not days. It's a little bit of time for 5 days in a row to learn the process. Also, Jesse, once you figure out who you want to help and how you can help them, even if it's just a rough idea, get out there and start a Facebook group or start talking about it. Start leading people, start answering questions, start finding questions on Google and answering them in a group on your Facebook profile, whatever, and see what attracts people and then have one-on-one conversations. It totally works.
And the other thing you can do, is you can find a mentor. Neither of us bite. Find someone who's smarter than you. Find someone in this group who's been there before. And use them to, I'm going to have to, Mom, give me just a second. That is enough. I am on a call.
I love that.
Sorry, guys.
I love it. I'm out. Woo! That would take care of me right there.
But you're like, and I'm not going to say anything else. You know, it's one of those things where find people who are a little bit further ahead and be friends. The thing is, I don't bite. I have so many people who reach out to me and ask questions. I love helping. Most of us who are entrepreneurs want to see you succeed. Like, we are over here, even if you don't talk to us regularly, cheering you on. When you post that you had a success, we are like, guys, we have dance parties in our offices for you. You don't want to see them, trust me, but we get really excited. So celebrate your successes, share them. So in order to figure out how much to charge, you would just ask them what they would be willing to invest. Honestly, yeah.
It's funny, CN, that seems overly simplified, but yeah, that actually is a really great way to start. And then you can go up from there. There's plenty of room to go up from there. But I promise 9 times out of 10, you're going to ask those questions, and they're going to say numbers that are more than you thought you could charge.
Yeah.
So it gives you a starting place.
Because someone was like, oh, it'd be worth like $50,000. And I was like, well, I guess the $7,500 I want to charge is not that much.
Yeah. Ask that question. It's a fun question to ask. It's shocking what comes back. It gives you the guts to know you can charge it too, which is a lot of the pricing, honestly, is in our heads. And just having that confidence is a big deal. We've all been there before, that's for sure, Noelle. Well, any other questions? Bree's got to go in a second. I want to make sure we use her time wisely. No other questions. If there are any, fire them up right here. I'm going to say 1 or 2 more things. If a question shows up, we will answer it. You can find Bree at her website, breannagunn.com. It's up there in the comments, and I'll drop it at the top of this video as well. She has great resources there. You can also connect with her on Facebook. Wow, that's a cool thing. She's a real person. Bree,
last time I checked, I may have changed, but you know.
Bree, thanks for hanging out with us on this great Monday. I love prospecting calls on Mondays. I really do, because they kind of get me fired up.
I know, right? And guys, if you have a question after and watching the replay, if you tag me, I will come back and answer it. I just, my little feed of notifications I have so much there that if you don't tag me, I won't see it. But if you tag me, I will absolutely come back and answer your question for you.
That's perfect. Yes. And guys, ask your questions, because, you know, when you ask a question, there's like 100 other people with the same question, just not gutsy enough to ask it. So you help everyone when you ask a question. So keep it up. Y'all are amazing in this group at asking questions and giving.
Your group, I'm really impressed with everyone you have in here. That they're asking good questions, and just, you have a really, really amazing group of people.
We only invite really cool people, you know?
Yeah, I can tell.
Okay, Bree, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
This week. Thanks again for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, bye guys.
All right, bye.